So I saw my medical oncologist about 2 days ago, and he had some different information than what the other doctors have told me so far. He told me that this was indeed a skin cancer that made its way into my parotid gland, and I had had a skin cancer on my right ear, on the top of my right ear, removed last March. So somehow a cell or several cells migrated to my parotid gland. The previous doctors I saw all said that wasn't possible, but the cancer is a squamous cell cancer. So they told me, yes, it's definitely migrated from your ear. They told me that, the usual treatment for this is to do radiation, but to also do immunotherapy, which raises your immune system. Sometimes cancer likes to hide with protein sheaths and things like that. So this helps your immune system to recognize foreign bodies, but I can't get this because I had a double lung transplant. If I had only had a kidney transplant, they'd still do the immunotherapy because with a kidney transplant, you can go on dialysis and in the future get another kidney, but they can't really do it for lung transplant patients. So that kind of worries me a little because it seems like the standard of treatment would be to do that along with the radiation. They told me that chemotherapy in studies has not shown to help at all with this cancer. It hasn't made much of a difference, I guess, in just doing radiation. So that's not really an option. They told me it just makes you feel worse because it's poison. The one encouraging thing that he said is that I told him I was scared, and he said there was no reason not to be optimistic. But I feel like every doctor says something different, and it's hard to know what the real prognosis is. So yesterday, I also saw a radiation oncologist, but not from my center, but they wanted me to see him anyway. He was more talking about proton therapy, which I guess they do at the other center, because I'm going to Sloan Kettering, and there's several of them, and I guess the one he's at could use proton therapy. I'm not quite sure really what that is, other than they say, if it's aimed here, it's not going to keep going. Like the radiation will keep going, and that's why you get sores in your mouth, dry mouth, and all this other kind of stuff. But to me, I don't know if it's as effective. It's a newer therapy. I'd rather just go with something that I know that people have done for a while. Not only that, it seemed like insurance was going to be a little bit troubling to cover it, and there was a lot of hoops to jump through, and I don't want my treatment to be any more delayed because I feel like everything has gone so slowly up to this point until I finally got to Sloan, where they're giving me appointments like day after day. But when I first had the tumor, it was believed to be benign, but I had to wait a month for an MRI. Everything was like feet dragging. I saw a doctor who at first was just an ENT and really couldn't help me, and he sent me for a test and a biopsy, but none of that was helpful. I had to see a whole nother doctor. So it's been a long process so far, and I just want things to move along. I also had another MRI yesterday of my head and neck to make sure there are no more tumors. The doctor told me that the radiation oncologist that I saw yesterday told me that he doesn't really think there would be more tumors because my PET scan was pretty, it didn't look like, according to my PET scan, that there were more tumors, but they want the MRI just in case. So I did that, and they're scheduling me for another appointment tomorrow on Thursday for a radiation oncologist at the center that I'm going to. So things are moving along.